Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and these are the hottest Golden Age comics for the week. And let's just get right into it. The first one is Brenda Starr, Volume 2, Number 10. This is from Superior Comics, 1949. It is a cool Good Girl art wedding cover. Brenda Starr is like a reporter, and she's peeking in on this girl in a wedding dress. It's a cool cover. Well, this was a 5.0 that sold, and it sold for $150. And I thought that was a fairly nice price for this book. It's actually a record. It sold previously back in 2013 for $137.50. So it's up about 10% in the last 10 years. I thought this was a pretty good deal, whoever got it, because a 6.5 just recently sold for $384 back in December of 2021, which would, if you do the price per point method, you would figure that a 5.0 should go for around $295. So this was, I think, a bit of a steal. So I saw it and I was like, oh man, whoever got that, they're so lucky, because it's a great price for a 5.0. So there's 19 of these on the census, and 19 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 9 on the list is Dagar the Desert Hawk, number 19. This is from Fox, 1948. It's an Edmund Good cover, and it's also a book that was mentioned in The Seduction of the Innocent. It has like what's called erotic hanging panels. So that, put that in your mind, whatever that means, erotic hanging. So yeah, that's what Frederick Wortham said about this book, that is promoting some kind of weird erotic hanging. Yeah, very interesting. This was a 4.0 that sold, and it sold for $315. Actually, it sold for $314.99, but I'll round it to $315. This is the only sale in grade. However, there was a 5.0 that sold for $468 back in December of 2021. So this is maybe a little bit low for this book, but it's a new record still. There are 33 of these on the census, and 32 of them are Universal Blue Labels. The next one on the list is an interesting one. Number 8 on the list is Wonder Woman number 9. DC Comics, 1943, actually. It's the first appearance of the Cheetah, who is Priscilla Rich. Very cool H.G. Peter cover with the Cheetah on the cover, which is always great when you get that first appearance of a major Wonder Woman Rogues Gallery character on the cover. So it's extra special for that. Well, when I say this is an interesting one, I mean interesting because this was only the front cover that was slabbed. So this is a front cover slab where it sold for $524.99. So we'll say $525. Surprisingly, there was actually a sale earlier in September of 2023 for $750 for this kind of front cover only slab, which is interesting. I guess, it does have the key things there. It's a nice front cover, but and it does have that first appearance. But it's just weird that doesn't have anything else. No back cover, no interior. So would you pay $750, or, well, now the new price is $525 for just a cover if it's a major Golden Age key first appearance? So I'd love to hear people's comments about that. In a way, you see these pages from Joker or like a Batman 1 or other books, and they can go for almost $1,000. This is in a way better because it is a cover. So interesting. I think this was an interesting sale. So what do you think? Put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear what people think about buying just the front cover. There are 93 Wonder Woman 9s on the census, like more complete versions, and there's 87 of them that are Universal Blue Labels. Number 7 on the list is Crime Suspense Stories number 19. This is from EC Comics 1953. It's an Al Felstein cover, and it's a great, crazy cover because the woman's getting drowned on the cover. But this one was also mentioned in the Seduction of the Innocent for an inside panel where the man is pouring poison down the drain in order to hide the evidence of him murdering his wife. And Frederick Wortham didn't really like things where it was instructional in terms of teaching people how to commit crimes, and also the idea of murder itself. So that's why this was mentioned in the Seduction of the Innocent, and it's kind of a major book for that. This was a 2.5 that sold, and sold for $531. Now, the previous record for this book was set back in March of 2023 for $439.67. So it's up about $100 from the prior record. There's 156 of these on the census, and 146 are Universal Blue Labels. Number 6 on the list is Tip Top Comics number 185. This is from United Features Syndicate, 1954, and it is the first Peanuts cover. Kind of. So there's another book which they're not really sure when it was published comparatively. I think it came out earlier, which is just Peanuts, and it's like it's another Peanuts cover. But either that came out first or this one came out first. So it's kind of one of those weird ones. But this is considered, like, if you get a slab of this, it actually says first Peanuts cover. So we'll go with that. Now, this one has both Snoopy, Charlie Brown, and Lucy on the cover. So it's kind of a cool cover for that. And this was a 3.5 that sold, and it sold for $563. Now, the previous record for this book was set only a week earlier. So just 1 week ago, this book sold for $600 on Heritage. So if you bought it on Heritage, you paid an extra $37. Basically, this is a confirmation of that higher price from the Heritage auctions. It's kind of in line with that. There are 27 of these on the census, and 27 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 5 on the list is Voodoo number 14. This is a Ajax Farrell publication, and it's from 1954. It's a great skull cover. Basically, this skeleton guy is judging a beauty contest and basically writing their names down, potentially that they're going to get murdered or something. Just a really interesting good girl plus pre-code horror cover. And it's one that I personally like. Now, this was a best offer on eBay for 1.5. Originally, it was listed at $800, and it sold for $500. So this is the highest and only sale in this grade, so it is a new record. However, a 2.0, so slightly higher grade, sold for $977. So you would have expected this one to sell for around $700, would have been a fair price. So the one that sold as the 2.0, it sold back in June of 2023. So that was kind of the peak for pre-code horror, was back last year in June. So maybe we're seeing a little bit of softening for these books. There are 28 of these on the census, and 28 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 4 on the list is Haunted Thrills number 13. This is also from Farrell, and it's from 1954. it's a Skull Driver, and I actually wrote down what the line he says. It's a really interesting line. Basically, he's driving, and we got this couple in the background that look completely freaked out, and he says, "No stops, folks. This is a one-way and a dead end. But don't, uh, but but don't worry. There's no fare, and it's absolutely free service." so so at least they're going to a dead end, but they don't have to pay a fare. That's always nice. So this was a 4.0 that sold, and it sold for $1,025. Now, this is the highest sale in this grade. However, there was a bunch of other sales that would kind of compare it to. There was a 2.5 that sold back in November of 2022, and it sold for $394. So this is well above that 2.5 sale. Now, there was also another sale in November of 2022 for a 5.0, and it sold for $3,840. So well below what you would expect for. So it's really weird this way. And there was also a 2.0 that sold in February of 2022 for $530. So it's all over the map in terms of pricing. Really hard to figure out what a 4.0 should sell for. But based on the 5.0 sale, which sold for $3,840, I would have expected this one to sell for around $3,000. $3,000, maybe a little bit less, maybe $2,700. So this is kind of down. A very interesting sale, but new record, but an interesting sale. So it's an interesting one. Who knows what the real price should be, but I guess it's whatever people pay. So there are 31 of these on the census, and 31 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 3 on the list is Marvel Family number 77. This is a Fawcett publication, and it's from 1952. It's just a great cover, actually, with this, bloody hand pinning down the Marvel family, and it's supposed to be the bloody hand of communism. So it's an interesting thing about the communist threat. So this was a 7.5 sale, and it sold for $1,240. Now, this is the highest price that this book has ever sold in any grade, actually. There are higher graded copies, but this is a new record across all grades. This book had originally sold back in September of 2022 for $1,020. So it's up about 20% from that prior record, but it's just a really strong sale for this book. There are 27 of these on the census, and 24 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 2 on the list is All Select Comics number 11. This is from Timely, 1946. It is a Sid Shores cover, and it's also the first appearance of the Blonde Phantom. Now, this is interesting because I guess they thought this character was so good that not only did she appear on the cover, which is always great, but the very next issue, they retitled the title to Blonde Phantom. So it was a popular character for Timely or Marvel, and she actually appeared across many issues. So this was a 6.5 green label. It's missing a centerfold, and it sold for $2,500. Now, this is an interesting one because it's the highest ever sale for a green label 6.5. There's only one green label on the census, and this is the one. But if you want to compare it, you would have to compare it to a blue label 6.0, which is the only thing that had a recent sale. And it sold for $9,430 in March of 2022. So based on the blue label, you would expect usually about half, maybe like 40% if you're really harsh on the pricing. So this is well below, this is like a quarter of that 6.0 sale. So really weak sale for this book. It was a best offer though, and that's what they sold it for. I guess they didn't think it was going to sell, so they basically gave it away. So this was, fairly weak sale for this book. There are only 58 of these on the census, and 51 of them are universal blue labels. So what do you think? How much should a green label go for compared to a blue label? I'd love to hear people's opinion of that. I usually price it out at around 50%, but in this case, it went for a fourth, which is pretty interesting. I think especially in those higher grades, people are a little less willing to pay that premium price. So just an interesting one. I would be curious what people think about it. Number 1 on the list is Little Dot number 6. This is from Harvey Comics, 1954. It is the first Richie Rich cover ever. And, that's what is its major key for that. This was a 6.5 that sold, and it sold for $3,560. Now, this is a huge record for this book because the last sale was back in August of 2014 for $1,553.50. Now, this one is interesting because it is only a 6.5, but it's also the highest graded copy for this book. This book is quite rare, and this is actually tied for that highest graded copy. And that's why it does command so much more for this high grade. You just don't see it that often. And there's only 17 of these on the census, and only 16 of them are universal blue labels. So just a hard book to find, and to get it in the highest grade, you got to pay up. I guess this is the way it works. So it's a major record for this book. And that's number 1 on the list, and that's the list for this week. I hope you enjoyed this list. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and remember to subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.